On Larry King Now, the Bachelor host, Chris Harrison.
This show is an anomaly.
Struck gold.
I struck gold, and the good news is I have that perspective. I understand that. I get it. I realize how stupidly blessed I am. At the end of it, there's hopefully a proposal. Hopefully there's this love, and this great story. But along the way, something could catch on fire and just explode and tumble down the track at 200 miles an hour. With Ari in this last season when we showed, Becca unedited, and there have been times when I'll look back and think, maybe I would have edited it differently or gone about it differently. But I always say I stand by my decisions when I make the best decision I can at the time with the information I have.
Plus,
to be honest, what will take down this franchise would be something catastrophic, something happening on the show or to someone on the show. That would be the
Trump takes over as executive.
Right, exactly. Something just horribly catastrophic.
All next on Larry King Now. Welcome to Larry King Now. Our special guest today is Chris Harrison, known for hosting the massively successful Bachelor franchise, of which The Bachelorette is currently airing Mondays at 8 p.m. on ABC. Chris also hosts the nationally syndicated game show Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Thanks for coming.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
How does one become a host of a millionaire, millionaires, Bachelorette? What are you?
The same way you did. That's a good question. What are you? I don't know. I don't know how I slid in the back door and did all of this, but I started in local news, just like you did, and walked my way out here many years ago to Los Angeles and started hosting. And you look at The Bachelor now, and it seems like such a big gig, and it is. It's one of the best jobs on TV, but at the time it wasn't. And so it wasn't like when I got the job, everyone thought, oh, wow, this is great, because the reality TV didn't exist. Survivor had been on one season, and so 6 months into this is when The Bachelor came around, and there was no American Idol, there was no Dancing with the Stars, Amazing Race. None of that stuff existed. And so it wasn't this great fanfare. It wasn't that big of a gig.
Did you think it would be a hit?
Oh, God, no. No.
So it was a job.
Anybody who tells you, and you've been around this business long enough to know, anyone who tells you this is a hit or going to be a hit, they're either, ignorant, inexperienced. There's no way to tell.
Okay, why is
There's
it
no
a
way
hit?
to tell.
Why is it a hit? Why is the franchise a hit?
Well, the host, for sure. I mean, I'm the only thing that's been around for 16 years. No, I think it resonates. It resonates with fans, with everybody, men, women, all ages, from your grandmother down to your kids, because it's relatable. It is incredibly relatable. There's no catch to the show. It's not a game show. There's nothing at the end of it. There's no $1 million. There's no house. It is these two people that will look at each other on a beach or a mountain or whatever, and maybe there's a proposal, maybe there's not. I mean, it's not even predicated on the fact that it's successful. We've had breakups, so it really is just the fact that it's relatable. We've all been there. We've all been married, divorced, broken up.
Yeah, but
changed.
none of us have had 16 women that we can comport with in San Juan, Puerto Rico, on a beach.
Right, and so it's relatable, and we all understand, and we all want one thing, and it doesn't matter where I am in the world: companionship, love. It's the currency that everybody understands.
Here's what you said about Bachelorette, the new season. It's going to be one of those seasons where you're watching through your fingers because you're embarrassed for everybody involved, but you can't stop watching. Okay, that's true. I try to avoid it because I know if I get into the first minute, I'm hooked.
Right.
Why am I hooked?
Look, to put this in a sports analogy, there's a reason we all watch NASCAR. It's not because we love to watch cars turning left and getting back to a checkered flag. If that's all the race was, no one would watch. But there's a chance, and no one wants to admit this, that a car going 200 miles an hour might catch on fire and just tumble down the track. There's that opportunity, that danger, that element. And so that's kind of what The Bachelor is. At the end of it, there's hopefully a proposal. Hopefully there's this love, and this great story. But along the way, something could catch on fire and just explode and tumble down the track at 200 miles an hour. And you can't help but watch it.
Do you get emotionally involved with them?
I do. Yeah.
You do?
Because, like Becca, for example, who's our Bachelorette right now, now I've known Becca for over a year. She's a wonderful woman. She's a good woman. She's sweet. She's very grateful. So you can't help but root. And maybe that's why I got the job in the first place. They wanted kind of a Midwestern guy who could relate, and that's I do. I do care about him.
Tell me about Becca. She was
on The Bachelor.
She was picked by The Bachelor, right?
She was.
And then he broke up with her.
He did.
So you made her a Bachelorette.
We did. That's it. That just summed it up. Yeah, she was on Ari's season of The Bachelor, and they were engaged, and things seemed to be going quite well when, obviously, as everyone saw around the world, he kind of pulled the rug out from under her.
Did he become a bad guy?
You know, I think in some respects, he's not a bad guy. I've known Ari for years because he was on a show that we did 6 years ago. So he's been around in our family for a while. He's not a bad guy. He handled the situation poorly. And I say this to you because I've said it to him. He was a knucklehead. He made some really poor decisions in the way he executed the whole situation. But I also told him, there's no way you look good doing this. You know, nobody breaks up with this sweet, innocent girl from the Midwest, goes with the cute, hot blonde, and you look better. No man looks better doing that. So I told him, if you do this, just know you got to wear it, and you better love this woman, and you better believe in it, because you're not going to come out looking better.
What kind of person becomes a bachelor or bachelorette? What kind of...
It's changed. You know, over the 16 years, if you'd asked me this back in 2002, it was just kind of this unsuspecting, innocent person who had a kind of a flair for adventure. You know, whether it was Alex Michelle, our very first bachelor, who signed up for something he didn't know what he was getting into, because we didn't know what we were doing. We were figuring the show out. And even to Andrew Firestone, who was, you know, part of the Harvey Firestone tire magnet and then the wine business. And, you know, we had those very innocent, successful men, and it was a diamond in the rough. Now I think it's a different person. You know, the show has evolved. Social media has changed everything. Dating has changed everything. So I don't think it's the same type of man that we had 16 years ago.
And what about the Bachelorette?
That hasn't changed that much, to be
Same.
honest. The same type of woman. I think, you know, not to rag on men, but it's easy to do so. I think women are very sincere when they come in. I think they are... You see a higher success rate on The Bachelorette because I think typically women realize how horrible it is out there in the dating world, and this is a great opportunity to find somebody, and they really are more sincere when they come into it.
I gather from talking to you, you get involved with all these people.
I do, yeah. I know it's weird that you'd think after 16 years I'd be jaded and just checked out and don't care.
So
but
you befriend them,
I do. Not everybody. I mean, obviously some more than others, and personalities clash. I do my job as much as I can, no matter who it is. But that job changes. You know, I do. I click more than others, you know, with others. And my job changes too about what they need. You know, that's, to me, the fascinating. It's a little bit like what you do. You can never treat any guest the same. I'm different. I have a different personality. I bring my own baggage and history and personality to this table. It's just like that with the Bachelor and Bachelorette. I can't treat Becca like I treated JoJo or Rachel or anybody, because they're different.
Is Bachelorette as successful as Bachelor?
Ratings-wise or love-wise? Ratings, well, it's a little bit apples and oranges because ratings-wise, Bachelor's our baby. It's the original. It has a better time slot in the year. You know, it runs in the winter when it's dark at 4:30 and we have no lives, and so TV is bigger. Becca right now in The Bachelorette is on, as you know, anything post-Memorial Day into summer, the ratings just instantly drop. It's light out till 8:30, it's warm, we're all out doing our sports and hanging with our kids. So, it's definitely more successful as far as relationships and numbers if you are smart enough to know ratings and can compare them.
Next, Chris Harrison on his endeavors outside of The Bachelor and Bachelorette, and later he'll jump into the If You Only Knew hot seats. Stay with us on this edition of Larry King Now. Chris Harrison's the guest. He hosts Bachelorette, currently airing Mondays at 8 p.m. on ABC. Also The Bachelor, also Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. He also wrote a novel called The Perfect Letter. Were you inspired by your work to write this?
A little bit, yeah. You know, people had talked to me for years about writing a book, and nothing ever made sense to me. I didn't want to write a how-to book. There's something that, I don't know, kind of sticks in my craw when people are like, this is how you should live your life. And so I didn't want to write the dating book and be that guy. And then I ran into Nicholas Sparks at a golf event, who obviously is the godfather of that genre of writing. And he mentioned to me about writing a book, and then it made sense. Writing, kind of extending my brand, just giving my audience more of what they already get. And that is that insatiable appetite for love and romance. And so, yeah, it kind of spawned the idea for The Perfect Letter.
Nicholas is a master of it. Do you enjoy it? You going to do more?
I don't know. I was a little disenfranchised with the entire literary world. The exciting thing was it was something I'd never done. And obviously you've written books and you know it's an oddly antiquated world. And it's changed so much, obviously, with the brick and mortars being out and everything kind of going digital, and it's not sure where it is. It's a little bit like music right now. It's in a weird place. And so I think someday I will do it again, but not in the immediate future.
You got it made. Do you have a wish to do anything else in the business? You love sports.
Yeah, I do. I love sports, and I did that for a long time. You know, I miss sports, but I don't miss the lifestyle, which is weekends, holidays. You know, that's when the big sporting events are, and so you kind of give up your life to that. And so when I was younger, it was great. I was covering the University of Oklahoma. I was covering my Dallas Cowboys and Texas Rangers, and so it was a great time in my life. You know, every now and then I envy those guys sitting in the booth on 18, you know, Jim Nantz and Nick Faldo and those guys covering golf. But, you know, I look back, and I think we all do this. You look back and have these fond memories, but you have to remember, you know, it wasn't that fun when you're there working. And I actually enjoy sports now. I probably watch it more and enjoy it more now that I'm not working in it. I think someday maybe to do something you do. I love interviewing. I love talk shows.
It's a great gig.
Yeah.
Do you see any expansion of The Bachelor? At The Bachelor, The Bachelorette? What else could we come up with?
Well, we do Bachelor. We did Bachelor Winter Games, which is a new one this year. It was kind of to counter program the Winter Olympics. I don't know if we'll do that again. Maybe. It was pretty successful. And then we do the Bachelor in Paradise, which is our summer show. That's the all-star edition to The Bachelor. It's where we get everybody together, take them to a beach in Mexico, and then the chaos ensues. So this year alone, we had four franchises going. And as you know, in this business, that does not happen. This show is an anomaly.
Struck gold.
It is. You did. I struck gold. And the good news is I have that perspective. I understand that. I get it. I realize how stupidly blessed I am.
No, but you've got to be talented. You have to be a generalist. Ryan Seacrest, you have to be able to think on your feet.
Yeah, and Ryan's a good example, too. And Ryan and I are friends, and we talk about this.
Ryan's an old friend.
You have to have, look, a part of it is the vehicle. Then a part of it is who's driving the vehicle.
Sure.
You know, I've watched and followed your career for many years, and I know Ryan, you know, started doing Larry King Live, but it wasn't the same. It's not, and that's not to blow smoke up your backside. It's just certain people are perfect at what they do. And
he's happy now, though.
Yeah, he's done okay. Yeah. He's doing just okay.
Do you see an ending to this franchise?
I don't.
I don't either.
You know, to be honest, what will take down this franchise would be something catastrophic, you know, something happening on the show or to someone on the show. That would be the
Trump takes over as executive.
Right, exactly. Something just horribly catastrophic. But beyond that, no. I mean, the show has evolved, and it made that generational leap that shows don't take. Shows die. Shows have an arc, just like anything else. They start, you get your audience.
Nothing is forever.
Yeah, you hit that apex, and then your audience gets old, the show gets old, and then you go away. That's just the natural order of this entertainment business. We somehow there was a lull, but then we took off again. And we made that generational leap that shows don't make. And now I have kids in high school, and when my kids were even younger, there's kids in high school and elementary school that come up to me and talk about the show. They shouldn't love our show. They shouldn't think it's cool, because their parents do. And it's bizarre how we have made that leap. And we are more socially relevant now than we were 15 years ago.
It's kind of hypnotic.
I guess.
Once you start, you're hooked.
Yeah.
When we return, the Bachelorette host, Chris Harrison, will talk about funny fan encounters, secret talents, and biggest risks in a little game of If You Only Knew. You don't want to miss this. We'll be right back. This is Chris Harrison, the fantastically successful host of The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, and Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. We play a little game here called If You Only Knew.
Okay.
You don't have to answer. It's not a court.
Pass.
Guilty pleasure.
Wine and golf.
Person you trade places with for a day.
Let's see, whose golf swing do I want? Either Tiger Woods or Jason Day.
The comedian that never fails to make you laugh.
Dave Chappelle.
Secret talent.
I can juggle.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a good talent.
Yeah. Taught myself to juggle as a kid. I don't know why. I was bored.
Best piece of advice you'd give a Bachelor or Bachelorette contestant.
Don't let the show change you. Let it add to your life.
Childhood celebrity crush.
Christy Brinkley.
Funniest fan encounter.
Clint Eastwood.
It was funny.
To me, it was. Because he told me he watched the show from time to time. And I was so taken aback by it. It's Clint Eastwood. I mean,
What's the biggest risk you ever took?
leaving Oklahoma City. I had a job offer. My dream was to be a sportscaster in Dallas. And I had busted my tail to get that job offer in Dallas, and I got it. And that was
Which
all.
was what?
It was as a sportscaster to work for Channel 4. I think it was a CBS affiliate, and with this man, Mike Ducey, who had offered me the job. And it's all I'd ever wanted. And I turned it down for a chance to come to LA to start up a horse racing network, of all things, at TVG. And
You were at TVG?
I did. I started the network back in
I
90.
have an account.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm a horse racing fan.
Yeah, and so I remember sitting on my back porch in Oklahoma City, and it was go to Dallas, follow your dream, or just take a shot on the unknown. Still not sure if I made the right decision. I don't know.
I think you did. Which Bachelor or Bachelorette did you come closest to?
You know, back in the day, just because I think we were closer in age, it was, Trista was our first Bachelorette, and she has become a very good friend of mine, and Andrew Firestone, another one. But again, I was so close to them back then. I was 2 or 3 years older.
Are you married?
Not anymore. I went the way of Larry King.
Did the job?
I've only done it once, though.
All right. Did the job affect the marriage? Being away with a lot of single women.
Yes and no. Yes, the job definitely affected, but it wasn't what people think. It wasn't the being around women and all that, because if anyone knows me and has been around the way I work, this is a job. I produce the show. It's not like we're all sitting around in a hot tub, traveling around in hot air balloons. That's not how my life works. It's not what I worry about on the show, because I'm worried about our ratings and hosting and all that. But it affected it in that my life was changing exponentially. So was hers. And I was traveling a lot, working a lot. And I was, as you know, when you get in the grind of trying to make it,
Your work becomes paramount.
yeah, it's difficult. And I think she's a wonderful woman, the mother of my kids, and we're still very close friends, but I think she lost herself.
She remarried?
She did. She got remarried, yeah.
Are they good to your kids?
Very.
Father.
He's
important.
Yeah, she got remarried. He's a good man, and they actually were neighbors. They live down the street, and we all make it work.
Favorite moment as host?
There's a couple of them, but one sticks out for sure. And the first time I did Miss America, I've hosted that for years, but it was 2004. It was 3 hours of TV back then. I was doing it solo, live TV, which is my love. I love live TV, and I wasn't quite ready for the gig. I just kind of started doing The Bachelor, and I was new on the scene, and they gave me the opportunity to do it. And I know it's not as big as what it used to be, but at the time, it was just a chance to prove myself and to walk out there on the stage at Boardwalk Hall, 15,000, were in the audience, and then live around the world. And it was that to me was a good proving ground and a moment where I thought, I need to kill it, have a good night, and I did.
What are you bad at?
Apparently marriage. Man. Oddly enough, I think probably communicating in my personal life, which as you know is different than communicating here.
Yeah. Because you control here.
Exactly.
You don't there.
Exactly.
Now, I've always said the same thing.
Yeah.
If you could speak to an animal, what animal would you choose? Other than a dog, everyone.
I'd love to talk to my dogs and tell them to quit crapping on my floor. So that's out. I don't know. I don't know why I would want to talk to an animal.
One thing you'd like to change about the world?
I know this isn't going to be very profound, but with my kids growing up, social media, I think it is such a difficult, I think it's changed so much about our lives, and it's changed so much about society and the way we talk and the way we're politically correct and this political minefield that we all walk every day. And you and I, luckily, we're old enough that we can speak our mind a little more. But
what happened to verbal communication?
Yeah, and just my kids and watching them grow up. I don't envy them growing up right now. with
No.
everything they have to deal with. I can't imagine myself going through college with being covered 24/7.
Is there something you long believed to be true but realized wasn't?
You know, I grew up, my grandfather was one of the great men in my life, and we grew up really, truly believing, you know, he was a big believer in the Ten Commandments and treating people right, and people will do you right. And, you know, and faith in people. And I do still believe that overall people are good. Anywhere around the world, I believe that people are good inherently. But growing up with that belief of I can shake somebody's hand, look them in the eye, and they'll treat me right. And if I work hard here, and you know, people will treat me right. And that was a tough way as a Texas boy and to come into LA and to get some of those lessons that not always going to be treated right just because you look someone in the eye and you do what's right.
In our final moments, Chris Harrison will answer your questions from social media. The Bachelorette airs Mondays at 8 p.m. on ABC. That's next on this edition of Larry King Now. We're back with Chris Harrison. We have social media questions for you, which we both not crazy about.
Yeah.
Kurt Myers on Facebook. Would you ever have a Bachelor or Bachelorette competition for older people?
I get that a lot.
Do you think that would work?
That is easily the biggest question I get when I'm out in public. I don't know, with HD cameras, do we want that? I mean, I don't know. I don't want to see, you know, I don't need to be naked on HD anymore.
But would it be bad for a 60-year-old and a 50-year-old? Today, everyone keeps in shape, and
It would be, no, honestly.
50-year-old women look like 30-year-old women.
The true answer to that is we have skewed the show older before. It didn't rate as high. We've had some 40-year-old bachelors, and even when we just go to 40, and I'm 46, and it didn't rate that high.
Morgan Shave on the Larry King Now blog. What's the dumbest answer you've seen on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Well, the poor kid who, the very first question, he got the IKEA answer wrong about serving, where do they serve meatballs? And then you can also basically buy a kitchen or something, whatever it was. And it was the easiest question. And he was really cocky too. And he just bombed. And he was out on the first one.
Like the honeymooners.
He said Italy or something like that. Instead, we were all just, and then once it's out there and you lock it in, there's nothing I can do.
Jackie Gleason on the honeymooners. What goes on that show? Just give me the...
Exactly.
Christina Lepke on Larry King Now blog. Do you think the Bachelor show provides unrealistic expectations about love and romance?
No. You know, what might be unrealistic is that we're all not going to Bora Bora. You know, we're all not flying around the world doing it. But what is realistic is what's happening. And that is why the show is successful, is at the end of the day, you can strip all that away. And, you know, we could be sitting in the studio and they could be having a date, and it's still compelling because it's at the end of the day, it's about the relationship. It's not about Bora Bora.
Morgan Shave asks, you're a sports nut. What's your favorite sport, and are you a Dodger fan like Larry?
Huge Dallas Cowboy guy. I played soccer my whole life. That's what I played in college. It's what got me into sportscasting. I still keep up with my arsenal, and I love watching overseas. I get up on Saturday mornings and watch soccer. Big golf nut now, and I can't get enough of that. Baseball, I'll always be a Texas Ranger fan. But because Clayton Kershaw is out here, he's a Dallas boy. I've gotten to know Justin Turner. I've gotten to know a lot of these Dodgers.
He's a great guy.
He's a good man. He and his wife Courtney are wonderful. And so the more and more I've gotten to know the Dodger organization, I've been around them, it's hard not to love them. And so I do. I go to a lot of Dodger games.
Me too.
Something about ballparks, Larry. There's something about ballparks.
Nothing like a baseball.
I love it.
What college you go to?
I went to Oklahoma City University, small little NAI school, and got recruited to play soccer there. And that's where I got into mass comm. But it's soccer and sports. I say, you know, I look back and I thank the Lord that I played sports, because I can always rely on that competitiveness, the work ethic, all of it.
Nathan Largo on the Larry King Now blog. Have they already started casting for The Bachelor? What do you think it is they look for in the person they choose?
Well, as the Bachelor, or even the contestants, you know what we're looking for is a story. You know, people think we cast crazy. We're looking for the crazy and someone who can really be nuts on TV. And first of all, you can't do that, because if you look for that, you know, you're not going to find Meryl Streep.
They have to be good looking.
It's bad acting. Well, you're looking for attractive. Obviously, television's a visual medium. I'm not going to lie to you. We would like attractive people on TV. It makes for, you know, better, more appetizing stuff to watch. It's like a soap opera or any other show. And so, but what we're looking for is a story. It's that person who has something to give when they start talking to The Bachelor, something you can relate to. And maybe you lost a spouse. Maybe you just got dumped and you're looking for love again. Maybe whatever it is, some extraordinary story. Maybe you're out of the military, but it's a story that we can tell, and it will arc like a soap opera over several weeks.
You're the producer. Do you pick the?
I don't. I obviously I'm in on the debate when it starts, but it goes all the way to the top now. It's Ben Sherwood, the president of ABC, and
He's involved?
Yeah, and the president of Warner Brothers. I mean, it goes way above my pay grade, thankfully.
Corey Anderson on the Larry King Now blog. Was there ever a moment you regret the world saw on The Bachelor or The Bachelorette? Well, they're not live, so you
No,
can't
but
regret
we've
it.
shown some stuff and done some things that, I don't regret. I always say, like for example, with Ari in this last season when we showed, Becca unedited, and there have been times when I'll look back and think, maybe I would have edited it differently or gone about it differently. But I always say I stand by my decisions when I make the best decision I can at the time with the information I have, and then I got to wear it. I have to stand up for it.
Orange County Queen, what a label.
Orange County Queen.
On the Larry King Now blog. You've been doing this gig for a while. How do you tell yourself it's still exciting?
I don't have to, because the day I show up for work and I'm not happy to be there and excited, I won't be there. I'll put someone else's name on the
So
trailer.
you still
and I'm
have the
out.
same bump.
I do. I love it. I get there, and part of it is the show, part of it's the job, but part of it is the people I work with. It's the behind-the-scenes thing that, as you know, people never get to see. And I've grown up and raised some of these kids that have come in when they're 18, and now they're executive producers, and we've all been through it together. And so it's a little bit of a traveling circus family, and that gets me excited. It's a little bit like going back to summer camp every time we do it.
And it's Betsy on the Larry King Now blog. What celebrity would you like to be on The Bachelor or Bachelorette?
It's funny. We've been doing this so long. I always thought George Clooney would have been a good one. Apparently, he's taken now. Jennifer Aniston. Well, I think Jennifer's back to being single. Maybe we could help her out.
That's not bad. Yeah, she'll need it.
Yeah. Brad Pitt. I don't know if he has anybody, but it would. It's funny. We've always talked about doing celebrities or doing athletes. But I think the show, and maybe we will someday, but I think the show, the fact that it is just normal, everyday people that I thought the show was best when it's about that diamond in the rough. It's about finding that person like Becca from Minneapolis, Minnesota, because I think she represents all of us. I think women can relate to her more than if it's Jennifer Aniston.
You shoot the show, it's done already, right?
It is, yeah. Becca
So
season's
you
in
know the winner before we know.
I know everything.
Sworn to is the whole crew sworn to secrecy?
Yeah, they are, and I know there's leaks. Obviously, things are going to get out in this day and age. Again, the beauty of social media and the fact that nobody's culpable for anything in this world. You can sit behind your typewriter. I just dated myself. Your computer, and Google typewriter, kids, and you can say whatever you want, do whatever you want. And while yes, there's a lawsuit and whatever, a confidentiality clause. Stuff's going to get out. It just does. I mean, when was the last time there was a secret in this world?
No, sir. Not
And I'm talking national security secrets.
In fact, if something happens now in the world knows about it in a minute.
100%. And it's around the world.
No newspaper extra anymore.
Yeah, and so it's crazy. And to think that we wouldn't be involved in that, and we talk about, should we just do it live or hold it? But, we do our best to keep it a secret, but if you want to find out, I'm sure you could go find out. I mean, I don't even know if it's out right now, but I'm sure it is somewhere.
It ain't brain surgery.
Right, exactly.
Thanks, man.
Larry King.
My pleasure.
Thank you, sir.
Big thanks to my guest, Chris Harrison. Be sure to watch The Bachelorette, airing Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern on ABC. As always, you can find me on Twitter at King's Things. I'll see you next time.